Hello, everybody. What I'm going to be walking through with you today is the different steps that you are going to be taking and will need to do to complete the requirements for the review project, presentation, etc. for AP Euro. So once you get to this point, and we will be sharing this link with you on Schoology, once you get here, we've got a couple different things that you can see. First off, you can see all 5 hours of AP European history are loaded there. So your hour is on there whether you have myself or Mr. Paler. The other thing that you see is there's a couple documents down towards the bottom. Now, the most important one for you at this point right now is to click on this e-learning project steps. What we have here is the steps that you are going to go through in completing this AP European History review project. The first step is you need to watch this video. So if you're hearing this, you've clicked this. The second thing is here's the project directions. So let's click this and see what we're going to be doing here. What these project directions basically are going to walk through is pretty much step by step the general gist of what the project is. As it says up at the top, it's that time of year we've got to start to prepare. Typically we would do morning and afternoon review sessions, but we can't do that because of the current environment that we're in. So instead what you are going to do is you're going to help your classmates to review and prepare for the AP European History test via distance learning. Not ideal, but we're going to make the best of it. So as it says, in order to make the process more productive, you and your partner will sign up for a specific unit of focus for review. Okay, so each class is going to create a series of different presentations. And if we scroll down here, we can see these are some of the units of focus. So one unit of focus is the Renaissance, the Northern Renaissance, Reformation, so on and so forth. You and a partner are going to have to sign up for a specific unit of focus. Now it's first come, first serve. So to do that, we're going to head back to this shared folder. And here it is, Review Project Sign Up. Now, we've got our 18 different options, and you can see Mr. Paler and myself. We are in Mr. Heil's Hour 1 class. You're going to find your correct hour. Maybe you're in Mr. Paler's Hour 3, Mr. Paler's Hour 7. Well, Mr. Paler and I are in my Hour 1. We were the early birds, so we get the worm. We get the first crack at which project we want for first hour. So we sign ourselves up here. So we have signed up for the Renaissance. That's going to be our unit of focus. Once we take that one's off the chart, or off the board, and the second group that gets here is going to get their second choice. So this is one you don't want to wait. Like I said, the early bird is going to get the worm. So we've signed up for our project. Now let's head back to the directions. Now Mr. Paler and myself are going to be responsible for creating and sharing the documents below to the assigned Google Drive folder. Well, what does that mean? Head back to the folder here. As I told you, Mr. Paler and I are in my Hour 1 class, so we're going to click here, and here's all the different options for Hour 1. We're going to save, click on Renaissance. We're going to save all of our materials right here. Other individuals in our class are going to find their proper one for Hour 1. If you're in my second hour class, you're just going to go to that one and save the materials here for you. So again, this is just so you're able to retrieve the materials that you need. Let's head back and see what we're going to be saving to that folder. Well, it looks like we're going to be saving 3 things to this Google Drive folder. The first thing is a Google Slides presentation. Basically, what I want you to think as we're preparing for this and working our way through this project, think of the art history presentations that we've had so far. Those of you that have done your art history presentation already, it's kind of like what we're going to be doing here. Those of you that did that presentation, you made a Google Slides presentation. You made a study guide to go with it. Okay, now, then you came to class and you presented the information. The only thing that's really going to be different is we can't all come to class and have you present the information. So let's take a look here. The first thing you are going to do is you're going to make a Google Slides presentation that reviews your topic. So for Mr. Paler and myself, that would be the Renaissance. We're going to make our PowerPoint. We're going to focus on main concepts. We're going to focus on terms and people and overarching questions. What we do not want, guys, is we don't want a simple who's who of the Renaissance. We also want to be sure to emphasize those main concepts. We want to be able to emphasize those overarching questions. How is the Renaissance a change from the Middle Ages? What impact does the Renaissance have moving forward as we get into the Northern Renaissance and eventually the Reformation? So starting to make big picture connections as well. When we get done with that presentation, we're going to save it to the proper spot. The second thing we're going to do, unfortunately we can't be together where you would present this to your classmates, so we're going to make an Explain Everything recording. So in Explain Everything, we're going to pull up that PowerPoint slide, our presentation, and we're going to just work through it just as if we would be in class. The nice part is you can re-record stuff and you can have materials in front of you. It's going to be 25 to 30 minutes. I'm going to make a bunch of videos and I will post those videos for you here. As it says, Below are videos that explain how to use Explain Everything in greater detail. Just haven't got that far yet. I want to get this to you as quick as we can. But there's going to be some videos there that are populated. The nice part about Explain Everything is that you can work collaboratively from your separate homes. So you can work in the cloud, and I can record some stuff at my house, and Mr. Paler can record some stuff at his house, and then we can just export it one time. That exported file is going to also be shared to the proper Google Drive folder. The last thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a study guide that is going to track with that presentation. Now, that study guide is going to, as it says here, it should contain blanks and areas for your classmates to record notes as they view or listen to your presentation. So again, I said think the study guides you received for the art presentations, except these are going to have some blanks. Let me show you what I mean. We come back to our project steps here. I put together just a sample example. So you can see an example of an art PowerPoint there. Here would be a sample example of a study guide. So Mr. Paler and I would create something like this for Renaissance. And I've got some general notes, but then we've got some spots in here that we're going to have our classmates, as they watch our video, be able to take notes and record on those proper spots. So you're going to want to make this last, basically. You're going to make this study guide part after you make your Explain Everything and after you make your PowerPoint. So you're going to make that. Okay. So those are the three things that we are going to put to the shared folder. Now, the last thing that we are going to make, Mr. Paler and myself, we're going to make a 20-question multiple choice quiz. Okay. So as it says, the purpose of the quiz is that it will review the material from your unit of focus. The question should not be simple description questions, such as which of the following people wrote the prince. A few of these types of questions are acceptable, but as a whole, the question should focus on significance of your unit of focus, the long-term ramifications of it, etc. The AP test isn't going to ask you who, what, where. It's going to ask you big picture things. So we want these questions to be written in that fashion. Now, as it says, if we come back to our project steps, right down here, you're going to create 20 multiple choice questions. You're going to indicate on each question the correct answer by highlighting it. And you're going to share this with Mr. Paler or myself. You're not going to place this in the unit shared folder. Okay, so again, let me hit back to my directions. So you're not going to share this one into that group folder. You're just going to share it with Mr. Paler and myself. We're going to put all these questions together so we're going to have 5 groups that are going to do the Renaissance. We're going to put all those questions together in a question bank and put together quizzes for you. And you're going to be able to take those quizzes again and again, and you're going to be able to test yourself and review yourself as a result. Now, we're not going to score those quizzes. They're going to be ungraded, but there is going to be a completion grade that goes with them. And I'll explain that a little bit more later. Now, the last thing, as you place those items in the Schoology folder or in the Google Drive folders, this is the way that we want you to label them. So for Mr. Paler and myself, we're in hour 1, so I'm going to tweak it a little bit. It would say hour 1 Renaissance Explain Everything video, hour 1 Renaissance slides presentation, and hour 1 Renaissance study guide. Okay, so this is the way it should look, and that is part of the rubric that's down below. Okay, and then again at the end, it said you're going to share that quiz that you created for our unit with myself or your appropriate teacher, myself or Mr. Paler. Okay, I've got some other additional notes here for you. Let's get down to the rubric though. Here's what it looks like. So your Explain Everything video is going to be worth 25 points, and you can see the breakdown there. Your review quiz is going to be worth 20 points with 4 possible answers for each one. And then your fill in the blank study guide is going to be worth 10 points. Finally, by correctly labeling all of your documents, that's going to be worth 5. And here's how you correctly label those documents. Okay. Now, I know you might be asking yourself, where do we start? Okay, we have the Renaissance, Mr. Paler. Where do we start? Where do we get going? Well, me and Mr. Paler are working on some resources. We're going to provide you some resources to start to give you some direction here. So what we did, for example, is for the Renaissance. And again, this is going to become more fleshed out as time goes. But we put together a terms list just to get you started and get you thinking. Okay, so thinking about Renaissance and patronage and some of these main ideas. Okay, the idea here is this is just one of the resources that we posted. If we pop back here to our folder, here's our chapter terms lists. Another place that, as this gets popular, hold on, give it a sec. Internet's a little slow at my house too. All of the lists are going to be loaded. There they are. All those lists are loaded for you. We're also going to further supplement this. Okay. But the idea is we want to give you some direction as you go and as you work your way through this. So where are we at? What is this going to look like? Well, you're going to start off once again right at the very beginning here with this e-learning project steps. You're going to work your way through. You're watching this video. You've got the directions. You're going to sign up. You and your partner are going to start to work on your presentation as a whole. You've got your textbook. You've got your notes. You've got your study guide. You've got the terms list that Mr. Paler and I gave. You have the other study guide that is the review packet study guide. So you can come here and take a look at this one. It's got some overarching questions for you. You're going to make that Google slide. You're going to make that study guide. You're going to record your Google Slides presentation using Explain Anything. You're going to create that question. Now, what do we do? What does the timeline of this look like? What is going on? This is what you're working on this week. This whole first week, the week of the 30th. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, that's what you've got from Mr. Paler and myself. Work on these 4 things. These items are going to be due on Monday, Monday the 6th. And I'm going to put that on here for you right now. Review materials due. Okay, now, what does that mean once everyone's done? Well, the cool part is Monday the 6th, everyone's going to have review PowerPoints, explain everything videos. Mr. Paler and I are going to be putting those questions into review banks for you and making quizzes for you in Schoology, and you've got your study guides. What are you going to be doing? Well, let's take a look at this calendar. Well, starting on the 8th, your homework for the 8th is going to be to log in to your hour in our folder. So I'm going to go into, we take a look here. If I'm hour 1, well, everybody's going to come for hour 1 to the Renaissance, and they're going to watch me and Mr. Paler go through our Explain Everything. They're going to download our study guide into Notability, and they're going to be completing that study guide as we go. And then when they're done with that, let's head back to the review to this. When they're done with it, they're going to log into Schoology, and they're going to take the quiz. Okay? Again, the quiz is going to be ungraded, but Mr. Paler and I are just going to give you completion points. We don't want you to sit there and freak out about it and look up answers. Just do the best you can, see where you're at. And if you don't do too well, maybe that means we need to go back and rewatch it, or maybe we need to go to our textbook a little bit more, go back to our notes. So you're going to get completion points for doing that. On Thursday the 9th, we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to download that study guide. We're going to watch the Explain Everything on the Northern Renaissance. When we are done, we're going to take the review quiz in Schoology and get our completion points for that review quiz. This is what it is going to look like then. So you're going to be reviewing a little bit every single day. Now, with this being said, Mr. Paler and I are still going to supplement as we get more material and information from the AP board. We're still going to supplement some other things for you, some other resources, some of our own Explain Everythings, some of our own review sessions, maybe a writing practice type thing. So you still need to continue to come to Schoology every day to check in, okay? But this is a really good way for us to really break up this material and get you as prepared as we can for the test. We have our office hours. If you have questions, reach out to us, send us an email. But otherwise, we're going to talk soon in this really unique and different e-learning model. So take care of yourself, take care of each other, chat soon.